I have visited various ethnic peoples during my excursions around the human planet. That is, people of different color, religious convictions, and speech. I have encountered extraordinary experiences and events. My goal was to become acquainted with the life of these people, their customs and rituals. They have continuously surprised me with their unique way of life and ability to survive. My desire to understand them as much as possible was the driving force of my pilgrimage to these people. Two men from the Jali mountain tribe accompany me on my journey in search of the Stone Age on the island of New Guinea. A third man, Yesaya, serves as my porter. They belong to the new generation of Jali influenced by missionaries who have given up Jali clothing like rattan hoops and penis gourds. Not long ago, I said goodbye to Yang and Akim. They were from the same tribe. We passed through a section of the mountainous territory of the Jali, who were discovered in West Papua only 40 years ago. In this vast area of high mountains, inaccessible rainforests, and deep valleys lives a Stone Age clan in our era. They lived mostly by hunting and practicing cannibalism. I met some women. This means a village is not far off. Meeting a group of hunters was unexpected. I wanted to film them, but couldn't talk them into taking a major role. Then I got an idea. I set up the tripod and camera and began doing business with them. Basically, for these hunters to be in the shot. The children followed the scene with interest. Even the women were curious. But it was nothing special to this little boy. The Jali were former hunters and gatherers, but small fields can now be seen around most villages. Taro is a plant with large green leaves, but its tuber makes up the diet of the poorer Jali. Women work in the fields, but their children gladly help out. Young girls look after their younger siblings. Already as children, they start carrying small bags woven from plant fibers on their heads. It is cold in the mountains. Most children usually have runny noses, but you can't buy a handkerchief in these parts. Girls receive their first grass skirts when they are 4 years old. Every 4 years, another layer of grace blades is added. When they have 4 layers in all, the girl is ready for marriage. I wondered why the women wear skirts so high. They don't even cover up their genitalia. They didn't tell me why. They just look confused why I would be interested in such everyday things, like fashioning knives out of cassowary bones. I realized that my search for the Stone Age on the island of New Guinea among the Jali continues. I did find one village the missionaries forgot about, where life goes on the same as it did 40 years ago and for thousands of years in the Stone Age. Still, giant birds from another world brought news about strange wonders even to these most forgotten of villages. The indigenous people already know what money is, and the younger generation wants to acquire machetes, t-shirts, anything they're still not familiar with. And the missionaries answer their prayers. Instead of raincoats made of screw pine leaves, my porters are carrying only a couple of sweet potatoes and taro tubers in the bags, for a journey of several days. I never once saw them drink. Poor fellows, how can they live like this? I hear a voice say from the civilized world. But they don't know any other way. As I go with them, I get the feeling these people are nonetheless happy. Smoke from a new field in the burning rainforest signals that a village is near. It started to rain. Nothing special here. A raincoat made from screw pine works better than my plastic poncho. I'm all wet from the inside out. The humidity here is virtually 100%. We stumble into the village unannounced. The women and children scatter before me in panic. Their natural covering was only an imaginary protection for them. They were as fascinated with the white man as I was by the beautiful rainbow. There were only women and children in the village. One of them saw something that agitated her. They didn't want us here. They were afraid. Better that I left the village and headed towards the nearest missionary airstrip. I'm not going to find the Stone Age among the Jolly anyway. But can it still be somewhere on the island today? The answer to this question drove me further on my quest. My next goal is the eastern half of the island. It was under Australian administration until 1976. Today it is the independent state of Papua New Guinea. In contrast to the western Indonesian half, the interior is relatively highly civilized. I want to reach the places discovered last of all by our civilization, the area of the Central Highlands. Everyone warned me how dangerous it is here, and I had to go there in a car with bars fastened around the cabin. I soon grew tired of it. I wanted to get to know these bloodthirsty creatures, and so I climbed out onto the hood of the car. They were in fact nice people, the Papuans. I arrived at the town that administers the territory of the Huli tribe. The indigenous people here left their native surroundings of the rainforest and villages, but don't know what to do in this new civilized world, nor do they want to, and so they mill around and chatter. Only the lucky individuals were able to break into a new activity. They've started to wear shoes only recently.
How did you walk?
This woman is again selling drinking water from bamboo sticks. I bought one, sat down among the people and began to grumble. I want to see the real Huli warriors, their homes and their lives. We talked it over, and in no time I left behind the civilized world for the rainforest in the company of an elderly man and a few women. Pardon, I mean to the fields. The rainforests here are already gone. A wig was hanging at the entrance.
Woman is very old, and their wise man husband lives in this house.
A relative of the elderly man knew a little English. It's because of these wigs the Huli tribe is known as the wig wearers. The boys fashion these wigs before they're accepted among the men. And if they don't have enough of their own hair to make them, they use hair provided by relatives. Only older men walk around today in traditional dress. The younger ones only during ceremonies and special occasions. The men and women are clearly happy about my interest in their tribe and gladly tell me everything.
Pajebu.
Pajebu.
Yes. Tanget. Pajebu.
The male skirts are made out of leaves from bushes.
With grass.
Grasket.
Grasket.
But a grandfatherly figure complains that the younger men only want to wear trousers.
Cassowary bone.
This knife is made out of cassowary bones, and the bag we call hura.
Back tradition.
Yeah, traditional.
What is
Whoever bags a hornbill bird can carry around this ornament. He describes every part of his wardrobe to me.
it? Kehare.
Yes.
Language Huri, yes?
Yes.
Kehare.
A strange item appears in the man's hand. Granddad made this gun himself, explains the woman. It's better than a bow and arrow. Do you know how many enemies he has killed with it? You don't believe me? Said the man. Better be careful. I bump into a man away up the road. No problem, and I continue on my way around him. I wanted to take to my heels when I saw the Huli warriors. Fortunately, they were friendly, and I found out that they're preparing for a celebration. I hope they were telling me the truth. Even though tribal wars have been banned, blood feuds among the clans exist in the mountains of the Papuan Highlands to this day. For the local tribes, war is a certain kind of celebration. They dived into the forest and forced me to go along with them. I had so much fright I could have sold it in bulk. The men start to make themselves up again at the creek. I will tell you, if there were a fashion salon here, it would be jam-packed. Only later did I find out the men were plucking parrots to add to their wigs. The Huli men boasted to me that they had several women. Well, it certainly is a paradise here for men, I thought. Even 20 pigs, the average price here for a woman, does seem like a lot to me. But the women here live apart from the men. Okay guys, let's go. Yelling and whistling could be heard coming from the forest. Fortunately, it was only a call for the warriors to gather around the ceremonial fire. The world found out about the indigenous people of the Papuan highlands during the 1930s. Two Australian gold prospectors first landed with a small plane among the Papuan tribes and were considered by them to be ancestors returning in the body of a big bird. At that time in the Papuan highlands, there were hundreds of thousands of peoples and hundreds of tribes who believed in the animistic faith. They didn't have metal. They busied themselves with farming, hunting, gathering, and above all, war. The tribes were in a constant state of war. The principle of blood feuds dominated everywhere. Cannibalism was a part of the animistic faith and rituals, like these, which I am a witness to now. The men were smoking a local semi-wild tobacco in a special pipe carved out of bamboo. Far be it for men to not want to show off their weapons. The stone in these axes are set differently than on the rest of West Papua. This pointed axe is the most formidable weapon they have. The point is made from the claw of the cassowary, a large bird similar to the ostrich and the largest animal that lives on the island. They showed me how they threatened their enemies with it. I must tell you, I wasn't very amused by it.
But they will use it on the other way in the edge of Muruk. And we use this at the backside to ornament.
Unlike this woman,
From some other places.
the Kina pearl necklace in the form of a half moon from the shell of an oyster was still used as a form of payment not too long ago. Today's money, also known as Kina, has a small hole in the middle, presumably so it can be worn around the neck. Every tribe on New Guinea has its own culture, and dance is a very important part of it. It summons up the trance necessary for communicating with spirits, a means of psychological preparation for war, and also a demonstration for the opposite sex. A living culture for most ethnic groups in the world is transformed into folklore. This transformation still hasn't taken place for the most part among the tribes on Papua New Guinea. All the tribes from the Papua New Guinea highlands live according to their traditions like the Huli. The Karmani, Yagari, Bena Bena, Fore, Kumu, and hundreds of other ethnic groups. Various tribes and their cultures have developed in isolation. The reason was the inaccessibility of the local terrain, and a visit to the land of a neighboring tribe aroused their interest more in consumption than in communication. That's why information didn't spread here very fast. The world ended beyond the territory of the neighboring tribe. Development on Papua New Guinea was the opposite of the rest of the world. Instead of tribes uniting, hundreds of individual clans arose with their own unique customs, traditions, ornaments, and dress. The clothes of the ethnic groups form a part of their ornamentation. A common adornment among the girls of the tribes of the highlands is a colored small disc made from clay, painted around the eyes. The breasts of girls are adorned with breastplates and jewels made from pearl shells. skirts are made out of grass. Men wear a flap made from leaves on their lower bodies or a skirt woven from plant fibers. After their initiation ceremonies, men wear a headdress made of pearl and adorned with bird feathers. The habit of showing off one's wealth was and is the same here among the local tribes as it is in the rest of the world. That's why ornaments and pearl necklaces are worn primarily during ceremonies and special occasions. The lifestyle of the Highlands tribes hasn't changed much since they were discovered by the outside world. But the demise of their culture has already begun. Imported religion, goods, and visits by remote tribes have speeded the process up. Wars and conflicts have been subdued today by military and police authority. The indigenous people today mostly only talk about old warrior legends. Warriors from the Asar tribe think of strategies to defeat their stronger enemies. They paint their naked bodies with white clay and wear large white clay crowns adorned with the teeth of boar and wild animals on their heads. With bows and arrows, they set out for the territory of the enemy tribe. Their Papuan foes are at first immobilized and then flee in panic before the ghostly onslaught. Many were killed, the men eaten. The clay crowns, known as mudmans in English,